Hello, everyone, and welcome. What is suffering? What is the cause? And what is its remedy? Limitation is suffering. Suffering or misery consists of guilt, blame, pride, worry, and expectation, and is basically a deep expression of a belief system that is rooted in separation or limitation due to ignorance. A belief that you are a doer and the other is also a doer, and that we make things unfold at our choices. Most of the world's suffering is based on this one single belief of personal doership. The second most important belief that causes human suffering is the belief that you require pleasure, pleasure, pleasure in order to be complete. Any pain in the moment is seen as an attack on who you are or who you think you are. So you are forced to resist the flow of life, which will in turn cause suffering. Acting out of desire and fear, raga, dvesha, will create suffering. From an individual's or relative standpoint, good and evil, happiness and suffering are part of the relative world, governed and caused by our thoughts, words, and deeds, which are the three tools of creation: thoughts, words, and deeds, and also karma, which is cause and effect. From reality's or absolute standpoint, suffering and happiness, good and evil are not part of reality. They are both appearances in reality and do not belong to reality, because reality is one without a second and hence has no parts. Reality only shines and experience just happens in its presence. If a rope is mistaken for a poisonous snake, is the rope poisonous? No, there is no snake and no poison, just the rope. And you are that rope. You are that reality. Nothing touches you, the reality, because pain and pleasure and suffering and happiness are merely appearances in reality and are revealed by it. Does the fire in a movie burn the TV screen? Reality is the only thing that is pure and separate, which reveals everything else that is apparently impure or mixed or dual. If it was not pure, it could not reveal all the mixtures. If light was not pure, it could not reveal all the millions or billions of mixed colors. Reality, as purity, does not resist anything, just like the space does not resist anything. The best way to understand this further is to transcend your mind. Transcend suffering for yourself, because the suffering is in your mind only. How? By knowing or remembering your true nature, or by self-realization. Who is feeling the suffering? It is you as the ego, or the mind. You, the ego, are the cause of your own suffering. Find out who the real you is. You's or ego's true nature. When there is suffering in your night dream, you, as the dream ego, are the sufferer. However, when the dream ego gets cut, the sleeper or waker won't be cut. As soon as you wake up from the dream you to the real you, relatively speaking, the suffering disappears without a trace. So, wake up from this waking dream. Reality is beyond happiness and suffering. You can be the cause of your own peace. People act out of fear and desire, the hallmarks of a separate self or ego, and create suffering. Take away ignorance and everything is totally fine. Furthermore, in this world of duality, nothing exists without its opposite. You cannot have heat without cold, sweet without bitter, or beauty without ugliness. What would you have beautiful to compare with if everything were beautiful? Life is a zero-sum game. So, don't be obsessed about choosing one against the other. Self-knowledge helps alleviate ignorance, the cause of suffering, and it promotes healthy habits like gratitude and acceptance or letting go. Two of this world's best remedies for alleviating stress or suffering. Gratitude and acceptance. So what is reality? Reality or God is the one that must be agreeable to all at all times and in all states. Therefore, it must be ever present, unchanging, and self-knowing. And what is that? Consciousness or awareness. Consciousness, like space, allows everything. The rope is not affected by the snake. The poisonous nature of the snake is not transferred to the rope. The illness contracted by the dream eye or the happiness of begetting a child in a dream is not transferred to the sleeper or waker. Like that, the good and evil of the world does not affect consciousness. Suffering is only in the mind, only for an illusory or pseudo-finite ego or separate self. Consciousness, however, never really becomes a mind. Mind gives birth to itself within its own imagination. We cannot blame infinite consciousness giving birth to a finite mind. But if you go deep into suffering, you will only find peace, happiness, love, which is itself consciousness. All feelings are the manifestation of this one love in some form or the other. Hatred is a manifestation of love. Suffering, therefore, is an illusion. A screen cannot feel or burn if a fire scene is taking place in a movie. There is suffering only for an illusory character in the movie that is seeing her people suffer and die in the flames. Once we realize that we are the screen, the separate self or ego dissolves. Then you are one with everyone and everything. There is, then, no question of violence, hatred, or suffering. Reality or consciousness is therefore innocent. For example, you may call someone ugly, but there is no ugliness in existence itself because there is no beauty. The distinction is human. It is not existential. You have made the definition. You have defined something as beauty and something else as ugliness. You have made the distinction and then you ask, why does God allow suffering? You say, this is evil and this is good. But if, for example, Genghis Khan's mother had killed him during his childhood, would it have been good or bad? But now, looking back, we can say that it would have been the most moral act. By killing her child, she could have saved millions of lives. This physical world or mind is given to you to go through and to go beyond. Distinctions or choices in life are to be understood as part of life. Do not pick one against the other. So, transcend your mind. Reality, God, does not cause the mind's or ego's problems. Ignorance of reality does. Thank you.